Hey everybody, this video is going to give you an overview of week 3 for Algebra 2. And real quick before we get into the tracker, I just want to say a major improvement from you guys from week 1 to week 2. So you seem to be getting a better hang of how we're going to do things. We're going to move through the tracker one slide at a time. I really enjoy looking through your guys' responses on the tracker, and I hope you're taking the time to go back and look at my comments. And then sometimes maybe going back to fix a few things so you can earn back those missing points. If you ever have any questions, of course, you can email. And then a quick reminder, guys, if you ever have a question as you're working through your tracker, one thing you can do, like if for some reason you had a question about this, you can highlight it and enter in a comment. This is the key for a comment, but the quick key is Control-Alt-M. And if you want to get my attention, instead of just commenting, what you would do then is say a plus sign, and then it'll start auto-populating things, but you could start typing my name or Mrs. Meyer's name, and then write your comment after that. So what that's going to do is it's going to shoot me an email to notify me that you have a question about something. Otherwise, I'm not going to see it until I grade your tracker, and by that point, it'll be too late. All right, so let's take a look at this tracker. I'm going to go in Present View. There we go. So week 3 already, can you believe it? We are actually about to be finishing up our first unit. So remember how I gave you 3 packets? Yeah, it's going fast. Thanks, block scheduling. So same idea as last week. We're going to go through the tracker one day at a time, one task at a time, and we are not going to skip around. You guys should not be playing around in Google Classroom. You should be going through the tracker and it will redirect you to Google Classroom as you need to go there. So, sorry, motorcycle on my street if you can hear that. So on Monday, we're going to do something kind of cool on quizzes. I bought a new subscription to it. So now that allows us to do like a lesson. So there's a really neat lesson coming up on quizzes that's going to go over some topics from last week. And there's some, I don't know why that's not, oops, back but there's some questions in the middle of the lesson that you're going to be, kind of graded on your accuracy. So make sure you answer them properly. But this is a good review for us from last week. And that way, if there's any gaps from last week, hopefully we can clear those up. I don't know why my recording screen is so weird. All right, moving on. So still on Monday, you're going to take a quiz. It's a Google Forms quiz on isolating variables. You're only going to get one chance at this, and I'm not going to release scores until later on in the week. So this is a topic from last week. Some of you have some rough scores on that quiz, so I'm hoping to get some better information from you on this guy. And this is the stuff where you're like highlighting the y and trying to rearrange the equation. Okay? So still on Monday here, you're going to watch the solving absolute value equations lesson and then do some practice problems on the accompanying worksheet that comes up right after it in the packet. Please check your answers in the key. And I think that's a really short lesson if I remember correctly. Yeah, 30 minutes for the lesson plus the practice and the checking. Oh yeah, that'll be short. So that's your task for Monday. So a little bit of review stuff, one new lesson and practice. So then that takes us to Tuesday. And notice one change I've made to these check boxes is not just like, is it done, but also if it's a quiz, I want you to put your score there. I realize you won't have your score for that Google Forms quiz on the previous day, but just put an X for now. If you want to know your score, if you're like dying to know it, let me know and I can look up your score privately. Okay, Tuesday. So error analysis slide, tell me what's going on here. This poor kid did not do it right. You're going to explain what the proper steps were supposed to be and then tell me what the correct solutions are. Some Delta Math practice on that same topic. You guys have been doing wonderfully on Delta Math, so keep it up. There's just a small handful of you that I have yet to see any Delta Math progress, so let this be the week that you finally log into there, guys. Delta Math is awesome. I love seeing you guys work on it, and it has a lot of support. I'm sure you've noticed that by now. This is fun. So this topic, this is actually from last week. You're going to be grouping these things together, and these are all like little image boxes. Ooh, shoot. Back up a minute. I'm in present mode. So you'd be dragging them over, and you're going to match them up. So remember how we can, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Undo, undo. Apparently, once you move them, they're stuck until you get them out. Remember last week we had multiple types of solutions. We had the interval solution, the inequality solution, the graph solution. So that's the idea on this slide is can you match up the different types of solutions? So that's a review. which is great because that topic is going to come up again in this next lesson that you're doing here. So this is 1.6 part 2, solving absolute value inequalities, and then the concepts of and or problems, they're coming back here. So this is it's a big topic in Algebra 2, and it shows up again here. You're going to practice after you do the notes. That takes us to Wednesday. So you have a quiz on that first topic from the week, the solving absolute value equations. That was the lesson you watched on Monday. And it is a nice quiz. So I think you guys have learned your lesson on these. Definitely nothing, no mental math is happening. We're writing down all the problems and keeping track of our attempts, making sure we're using both attempts if necessary. Okay, so I'm just going to warn you, this question, I made not just one mistake, there's multiple mistakes going on here. So there's a reason I gave you a very large text box. You're going to probably have to write me quite a few things. Yeah, your girl has a lot of issues, it says. Sure did. All right. Same day, we're going to be working on Delta Math, completing some practice problems on this newer topic of solving absolute value inequalities. These are going to be and or questions. And then we have a new lesson, but it's not a new lesson because it's actually something that you saw back in Algebra 1. We're going to be solving systems of equations using 3 different methods: graphing, substitution, and elimination. So for today, because we've already done quite a bit on this list, you're just going to watch the lesson and take the notes. And then tomorrow, you're going to do the practice. So speaking of the next day, Thursday, right off the bat, you're going to start by practicing. So you're going to go back to that Google Classroom section where the notes were, and then you're going to see, you already have the practice worksheet in your packet, but you're going to see the answer key there. So once you practice it, please go do and check. I will warn you guys, the answer key doesn't really have any work on it. It just has the solution. So you're really going to have to ask questions if you're not sure how you get these solutions. Please, 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 I think we know this by now. Don't copy the key. All right, so we're still on Thursday, I believe. And this is a nice warm-up slide because the next thing I'm going to have you do is take a quiz. So this is kind of like a quick brush-up review of whether you have an and problem or an or problem. So this is based on that 1.6 part 2 lesson. Same idea, you're going to drag the little pictures over. And then you want to take a quiz. So it's another quizzes. You're going to get 2 attempts again. So remember, be very organized and methodical. Absolutely don't do any mental math. That's never a good idea. And you have plenty of time for each question, guys. So really stop and think about what you're doing and write out all the steps. And then there's Friday. So Friday seems so far away right now, doesn't it? So here is a question. It's not an error analysis this time. It's asking you what would you do? So what method would you use and why would you choose that method? This will make more sense once you watch the lesson again. But then you're going to go ahead and actually solve the problem for me. And we have a quiz on that topic. Solving systems of equations is a quizzes. So again, you get 2 chances. Be methodical and careful. Absolutely. No mental, don't tell me that thing where you're like, I did it in my head and I don't know what I did wrong. Like, I have no sympathy if that's what you did, guys. You gotta write it down. And please, on the quizzes, if you don't get a good score the first time, stop and reevaluate what's going on, okay? If it's a matter of, oh man, I need to practice that more, that is a great time to contact your teachers and say, I seem to have struggled on that first attempt. Can you give me some more problems, or can you meet me, in the Google Meets during class? Can you make up a couple extra questions, Mrs. Abruzzo? Those are always fun, right? So then we're going to be watching a lesson on systems of equation word problems. And then there's a quick practice on that. And that is the only thing you have to do on Friday. The next task is optional. That would be working ahead for the following week. So by no means do you have to work ahead. You know how we feel about that. And then again at the end of the week, by Friday, 9 o'clock, you're turning in your tracker. I'm grading all weekend like a crazy lady. And then we'll update your grades on Monday. So like I said, big improvement from week 1 to week 2. So proud of you guys. I think our Google Meets have gone smoother lately. Remembering that we are all getting on the Google Meets at the beginning of class and we're holding the beginning of class together. That's a time for us to really do what we normally would do in class, which means going through math questions and talking to each other and asking really great questions when you need something gone over one more time or clarification. And we're just so very proud of you guys and the work that you've done here in week 2. So let's make week 3 just as magical. All right, thanks, guys. Email anytime you have a question.